So the long list process for the perfect 100, again, if there's not 100 candidates for the position, your spec and your client is unrealistic, your spec is way too narrow. If there's too many, again, your client may not be pushed hard enough, they may change their mind halfway through the process. You need to push them a little bit harder and certainly get more of a defined idea of what they're looking for. So first of all, grade the client and the vacancy. If it's an A, let's start closing the client on sending candidates ASAP. Maybe sell a retain solution, something like that. If the client is a B, let's move the client up to an A. If the client's a C, let's make a decision here. Can they become an A, or do we just not work it? Because we really don't want to work anything other than A jobs. If it's an F, simple, end the process. Similar if the client remains a C client or the vacancy remains a C client. If they're A's and B's, or if the B can be moved to an A, let's profile the client, the vacancy, and create the CV of the perfect candidates. Let's create some core identifiers of what that perfect candidate looks like in order to allow us to help map and to match what the candidate should look like. Again, only approach 7 and 8 out of 8. Bear in mind that over 90% of our placements came when we was approaching everyone from 7 and 8. So essentially what you're doing is you're voting with your feet. You are not going to fill this job, or it's very, very unlikely that you're going to fill this job with anyone under a 7 and 8. So why even bother messaging them in the first place? Next, obviously, create the job on the CRM. Now, we have AI in the back of our CRM, which is very helpful. It will help suggest previous similar profiles and all the rest of it, but obviously being a little bit of a smart recruiter, you'll check the CRM for similar roles that you've worked previously and see who was longlisted. Add the good ones and the relevant ones to your job and approach. Remember, working in sprints. Don't wait to get 100 and then message them. Work one sprint at a time. So in this instance, the first sprint is find similar roles that you've worked previously, add those good ones to your long list, to your job, and then approach them. The next thing is reach out to those who are on, who you know could do the job, probably people on your 144 list. Reach out to them, add them to your job, approach them. Dead simple. Again, reach out your network for referrals. If you, and your 144 list here, if you don't have any ideas, pick up the phone. If you know people that are working in similar markets, pick up the phone, get referrals, add them to your job, and approach them. Then put an ad out and on your social media and your LinkedIn and all the rest of it. Get the good response, add them onto your system. But please note here, you're on hour 3. You've got the vacancy. You've then already looked at the previous long lists. You've then reached out to people both for referrals and for people to actually approach, and then you're putting something on LinkedIn. This is acting with huge pace, huge urgency. If it's going beyond 3 hours, you're too slow. Your competition are going to get there. The client are going to get dissatisfied. The spec will morph, change. Time kills deals, not because the candidate's getting disinterested as the clients, but because it allows changes to happen in the client's circumstances, what will change the vacancy and therefore waste your time. Next, map on the CRM. We all know how to do this. Find the core skills, see who's on there, add those relevant people to your job and approach. Then map on LinkedIn. We've got a really comprehensive CRM, so this is almost a real direct or last resort here. Map on LinkedIn, add those individuals to your job and approach them. Then finally, map your direct competitors, their LinkedIn, their work for us on their websites, those sorts of things. Add those individuals to your job and then approach them. It's a very, very, very simple way of doing things. But again, what it shows is you're working in sprints. And what it shows here in this instance is you're working one step at a time, getting results each time. But notice, this all gets done in one day. If you map your market properly, if you know your market properly, and if you work in the correct ways, you can get a lot of your results done in the first day. Again, I understand here that when we talk about approaches, you may not get through the first time. You'll have to go through your candidate approach or the candidate process as well to go through that whole system. So we're not suggesting you speak to every single person within the 8 hours. We are suggesting you approach them though.